What's up, losers? Today I'm back with another round of r/fatlogic fun. Reading a few posts that I found interesting, and sharing my random thoughts about them. This is episode 70 in the fatlogic series. And I'm ready to have my mind blown by some 1000 IQ fat acceptance takes. So without further ado, let's get into it.
This is your semi-regular reminder that the obesity epidemic is fake. The existence of fat people was never an epidemic, because fat people existed before COVID. And no one was trapped in their homes because of us.
Well, this one is pretty damn confusing, isn't it? Does this person think that the term obesity epidemic is an invention of the COVID era? Because, it isn't. It predates COVID by a long time. People aren't calling obesity an epidemic because they're comparing it to COVID, or invoking COVID-style messaging. They were already calling it an epidemic beforehand, because it's a condition that is dangerously on the rise all over the world. And it has been for quite some time now. And the point about people being trapped in their homes is also confusing. Is the implication that something is only an epidemic if it leads to lockdowns? Because that's obviously not true. But I can't think what else they might be trying to say. Am I missing something? Probably. I usually am, but I don't have the patience to sit around all day trying to make sense of it. So I'm going to move on. If anyone can shed a light on any aspect of this post, be sure to do so in the comments.
Your relationship with your body is infinitely more sacred and important than your body's relationship with the gravity. Anti-diet coach.
Well, would you look at that? It's our friend the anti-diet coach, at it again. How nice. I feel like we've already become close. This post is a little hard to respond to because it's kind of just an opinion, like people are going to have different ideas about what is important in life. And it's often difficult to sway someone from their earnestly held values. If someone thinks that having a good relationship with their body is more important than maintaining a healthy weight, and they think that the two are mutually exclusive, then we're operating within fundamentally opposed belief systems. Despite this, I will share my own opinion, for whatever it's worth, which is that actually maintaining a good relationship with your body does not involve feeding your every fleeting craving, and allowing your body to balloon out to an unsustainable size. Because at that point, your body will be nothing but a source of discomfort, pain, danger, and inconvenience to you, and I'd have to imagine that all of that would lead to a certain degree of resentment towards your body. It sure would for me. Then again, I'm not a fat activist. So maybe I'm just incapable of truly understanding the fat mind, or something like that.
If healthcare workers are being injured caring for fat patients, that is also a training and equipment issue. Fat people are deserving of hospital care. It's not our fault your workplace conditions are unsafe.
Okay, so I think this one is really interesting. Because I agree with the main point that it's expressing, but I don't like the way it's being used to justify extreme obesity. So I'm a little torn. In general, I do think that we should hold employers responsible for workers getting injured in a manner as foreseeable as this. It's certainly not the worker's fault. And I don't like the idea that employers can just wriggle out of providing compensation or support by blaming fat people. Because that's not going to help the injured workers get the help that they need and should be entitled to. With that being said, I'm rather alarmed by the blasé attitude that this post is adopting towards a state of affairs that is, at best, extremely worrying. The fact that there is a noticeable trend of hospital patients being so fat that they cannot be moved without the support of specialized industrial equipment is not something to be laughed off or downplayed. It's horrifying. These people are destroying their bodies and lives before our eyes, at great cost to those around them, including the healthcare workers who, insufficient training or equipment notwithstanding, are just trying to do the job. It's a human tragedy, on multiple levels, and this post seems more interested in deflecting unwanted negative attention than truly reckoning with any of this, which, I don't know, just seems irresponsible to me. So in summary, yeah, if healthcare workers are going to be asked to lift morbidly obese patients, they should be given the training, equipment, and numbers necessary to do this in a way that is safe and will not injure them. But let's not try to normalize this, because the fact that we even have to have this conversation is nothing less than a disaster for society.
Restrictive eating to reduce weight, aka dieting, statistically doesn't work. This isn't a reflection of individual failure, but proof that long-term food restriction, for the purpose of weight loss, isn't sustainable. Restrictive eating also isn't the health-driven act that diet culture relies on us believing and throwing money at. It's the opposite, consistently harmful.
Okay, but it is a reflection of individual failure, because some people diet successfully and others don't, and the difference between these people lies not in some random chance or luck, but in the extent to which they are able to reduce their calories and consistently maintain this habit over a long period of time. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's helpful to beat people over the head with the dietary failures, because that's only going to demoralize them more. And I would suggest that focusing on changes that can be made, rather than past failures, is a more positive way of helping people achieve the goals. But we can't even have this conversation if people are denying the basic physics of weight loss. Restricting one's food intake to lose weight does work, that's just a fact, and it is sustainable, because plenty of people have indeed sustained it, and would be happy to tell you all about it, if you were brave enough to ask, and didn't insist on obscuring their impressive accomplishments behind the shortcomings of their peers. As for whether restrictive eating is a quote, health-driven act, obviously this has to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. Some people might restrict for reasons other than health, and some people might restrict to the extent that it becomes unhealthy. I wouldn't deny that, and I think that few would. But for people who are obese, and especially those who are severely obese, restricting one's food intake is not just a healthy course of action. It's pretty much an essential course of action, if they care about preserving their health at all. The idea that it's actually harmful for these people to restrict their consumption, and the implication that it would be healthier for them to just continue as they were, is completely ludicrous, and dangerous if taken seriously. Telling someone that it's fine to be fat, or that losing weight is impossible for them, is not harmless. These are not minor or inconsequential things for someone to internalize. They are nothing less than damning. They strengthen people's feelings of powerlessness, and increase the dependence on the very coping mechanisms which are doing them so much damage. They close the door to positive change, or the chance of a better life, and effectively snuff out the light at the end of the tunnel. And as far as I'm concerned, none of that should be considered even remotely acceptable. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed these posts and my commentary, even if I couldn't come up with much to say about a couple of them. Haha. What do you think? Is the obesity epidemic fake? Is your relationship with your body more important than your body's relationship with gravity? Are fat people to blame for healthcare workers getting injured trying to move them? Does restricting one's food intake work to make one lose weight? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll put on a bunch of weight. and get you to move me from my bed. And you'll throw your back out. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.